Let's get on to my NFL Week 4 picks. Last week, I went 8-8 for the week. It was a very interesting week with a lot of upsets. For the year, I'm at 29-18-1. So here are my Week 4 NFL picks. The Thursday game this week features, out of the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles going up to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Of course, these two are rivals. These have had storied history, especially the last 10 years or so, more so or not. But of course, the Eagles losing to Detroit while the Packers beat Denver. So Packers are undefeated while the Eagles are 1-2. You know I'm taking the Packers here. I think the Eagles are going to be up for this game, and they will give the Packers all they can handle. But I think Green Bay is just the better team here. This game will be shown nationally on Fox Television across the country, also on NFL Network, and it will be airing on Amazon Prime Video. So we have that. Sunday games this week, we have the Tennessee Titans traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. I was tempted to go with Tennessee here, but I'm going to stick with Atlanta, even though the two times I've picked them, they have lost. And the one time I didn't pick them, they won. I'm just going to pick Atlanta. I think they're at home, and I think they're just the better team here. So give me the Falcons to bounce back and win this one. Battle of undefeated teams out of the AFC is next. We have the New England Patriots taking on the Buffalo Bills. Of course, even though both teams are undefeated, clearly New England is the better team here. And of course, I'm going to talk about my thoughts on Antonio Brown. I will save that. If you're listening on the podcast, I'll be talking about that here shortly. But anyways, as far as the matchup here, the Patriots are just the better team here. Give me the New England Patriots to hand Buffalo their first loss of the season. We have the Kansas City Chiefs going to Detroit to take on the Lions here. The Chiefs just continue to impress. They've been unbelievable so far. I think the Lions can, keep up with the Chiefs as far as the offense, but, Kansas City's just too much here. I'm going to take Kansas City on the road to beat the Detroit Lions. We have the Oakland Raiders traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts next. The Raiders just continue to struggle on the road. The Colts have shown me something here. They're actually not playing bad with Jacoby as the quarterback there. I'm going to take the Colts. I'm going to pick the Colts at home to beat the Raiders. I think the Raiders just struggle on the road enough, and the Colts they haven't been as bad as people thought they were going to be. Give me the Colts at home to beat the Raiders. We have the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to the NFL's worst team, the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins have scored just 16 points through 3 games. I know the Chargers, they lost last week, but they're clearly bouncing back here. I think the Dolphins defense has played better each week. They only gave up 31 against Dallas this past week. I don't expect this to be quite a high-scoring game. I think the Dolphins defense is starting to show a little bit of signs, but their offense stinks. Give me the Chargers on the road to beat the Dolphins. NFC East matchup has Washington traveling to the Meadowlands to take on the Giants. Daniel Jones picked up his first win as a Giants quarterback last week when they beat the Bucs. Washington got embarrassed on Monday Night Football. I'm taking the Giants at home to beat Washington. The Giants are just a better team. Washington's not much better than the Dolphins, but give me the Giants at home to beat Washington. A matchup out of the AFC North is next. We have the Cleveland Browns traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Browns, of course, losing on Sunday Night Football in a close game, but maybe the Browns aren't as good as people thought they were. I see the bandwagon starting to be emptied a bit. The Ravens, have been very good here. Lamar Jackson, even though they lost to Kansas City, was a very competitive game. I'm picking the Ravens to bounce back here. The Browns have a murderer's row as far as their schedule goes, and they could easily be 1-6 through their first 7 games. It wouldn't shock me at all. I'm taking the Ravens at home to beat the Browns. Carolina Panthers travel to Houston to take on the Texans. The Panthers are going to be without Cam Newton for their second straight game. He's battling a foot issue, so they're going to go with Kyle Allen as the quarterback once again. The Texans, they're at home. They got Deshaun Watson as the quarterback. They have the edge there. They're at home. The Texans have to win here. Give me the Texans to beat the Panthers. Even though the Panthers did surprise and won last week, the Texans are just the better team here. Tampa Bay Bucks travel out west to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. The Rams are the better team here, clearly. Give me the Rams at home to beat the Buccaneers. NFC West matchup features the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. course, the Seahawks, they lost last week to the Saints, which was a surprise I didn't see coming. Kyler Murray, he's not played bad, but his inexperience has showed up a bit here. I think this will be a low-scoring affair like it usually is when they're in Arizona, but I think Seattle is just going to get it done. It can be a close game, but give me the Seattle Seahawks beat the Arizona Cardinals. NFC North matchup, CBS has a doubleheader, by the way, this week, I should say, on Sunday. I forgot to mention that. And this is one of those games. NFC North matchup, which will air on CBS, we have the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. This will be the game that most of the country will see. I'm actually going for a surprise here. I know the Bears dominated on Monday Night Football against Washington. The Vikings have played pretty well themselves here. So, with that being said, I'm going to actually go for a surprise here. This is not my official upset pick, but I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings to go into Chicago and surprise the Bears. Mitchell Trubisky, he's been, he played his best game so far on Monday night, but he hasn't really gone up to par yet as far as his play goes. I think the Vikings are going to have some surprises in store, so I'm picking the Vikings in a surprise. Jacksonville Jaguars travel to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Broncos are still winless after losing to Green Bay. Jaguars with Minshew is not done terribly bad, but the Jags, I believe, are 1-2. Denver's 0-3. Denver is actually a home favorite here despite being winless. This is where my upset pick of the week lies. I'm actually taking Jacksonville to go into Denver and make them 0-4. I'm taking the Jaguars to beat Denver in Denver. The Sunday night game that will air nationally on NBC this week is a good one. We have the Dallas Cowboys traveling down to the Superdome to take on the Saints. Great matchup here. A lot of offense I would expect here between both teams. Could be a shootout. But now that I think about it, of course, we don't have Drew Brees. We have Teddy Bridgewater, who actually did not play bad last week and actually led the Saints to a win over the Seahawks. The Cowboys just continue to impress. It could still be a shootout, but I think Dallas, it's the quarterback. They have the quarterback advantage here. I'm taking Dallas to go on the road and beat the Saints in New Orleans. And then finally, Monday Night Football this week on ESPN. It's battle of winless teams out of the AFC North. We have the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Both teams are 0-3. It's shocking to see the Steelers be 0-3. The Bengals, Andy Dalton. You figure with the quarterback, Andy Dalton and Mason Rudolph, you figure Andy Dalton should have the advantage here. I'm taking the Steelers. The Steelers have to win one here. They're not going 0-4. The last time they were 0-4 was actually back in 2013 when they finished that season 8-8. There's no way the Steelers lose on Monday Night Football at home in front of a worldwide television audience. So give me the Steelers to get on the board with their first win of the year by beating the Bengals. The teams on the bye this week are the New York Jets and San Francisco 49ers. So those are my Week 4 NFL picks.